Hello, everybody. Welcome back for another episode of the Manifestation Queens podcast. So recently in my private group, I made a bunch of changes. And usually when you hear about people making changes, they're like, you can't post in here. You can't do anything. You can't. Rah. And let me tell you, these were not the changes that I made in my group. I actually expanded people posting in my group in terms of asking them to celebrate more, sharing your wins, sharing your intentions for the month, and really giving people a safe space to ask questions, celebrate, do all the things. And this podcast episode is actually a recording from my most recent Free Coaching Friday. And I got the inspiration to do Free Coaching Friday from Amanda King. She's a business coach and a badass that you've heard on this podcast a couple of times. And Amanda does this where every Friday she gives a free coaching hour for all the ladies that are in her private group. So this is your chance to ask me anything about manifestation and mindset or business or money, all the things. And I really, really love it. It's been so fun so far. This Q&A had a bunch of really, really great questions. And because of that, I wanted to make it into a podcast episode so that you can benefit from it too and have something to keep going back to. The questions that are answered are, how do I deal with having a significant other who isn't supportive of my dreams? There's also, it kind of has a negative mindset. Also, like, how do I know my dreams are manifested if they haven't manifested yet? And, much more from there. So enjoy this episode. I think you'll find a lot of value in it. And if you like it, be sure to screenshot it, tag me on Instagram with your aha moment from this particular podcast episode, and leave a 5-star rating. I love it when you leave a review. It makes it so much fun. And thank you guys so much for supporting the Manifestation Queen podcast. I love you. I look forward to hearing what you think about this episode. Bye. Are you ready for this? Let's do it. Welcome to the Manifestation Queen podcast, your filter-free and uncensored source for all things manifestation. I'm Cassie McKenzie, and I'm a manifestation expert. I'm here to raise your vibes and your cash flow. Listen, I've manifested everything from a beer, a 6-figure salary, my husband, and homes, and more. And I am spilling everything I can on this podcast so you can learn how you can do the same. The more fun I have, the more manifestations appear, and the more money I make. So it's my obsession to show you how you can be, do, and have anything you want. So join the movement to raise your income and your impact on this world. Become a manifestation queen and create a life that feels like a vacation. Let's do the damn thing. Hey guys, how are you doing? Welcome to Free Coaching Friday in the Manifestation Queens group. I'm going to tag a couple of people who I know asked questions. Let me see. It won't let me search. So I know Jamie asked a question. And Pam did. Miss Pamela McGee. Let me see where this thread was, because I think they both said they might not be able to make it because they're working. So we will continue on from here. All right, I'll tag Ivanova. She's always coming to watch. And there's some little Deborah D action. Okay, cool. Close myself out. I don't know how to do this. How do I get back to the actual thing? There we go. Tell you what, this is crazy. Have you ever done Facebook Live and tagged people and not been able to get back to your own video? Well, that would be my life right now. Welcome, guys. If this is your first time meeting me, I'm Cassie McKenzie. I'm a manifestation mentor and a business coach, and occasionally a hot mess. But today, it's good. Today, we're doing good. So every Friday, if you didn't catch what I put in the announcements section about a week and a half ago, I made some announcements to changes in this group. So they're all really good changes about like some intention settings we're going to do. We celebrate everything, like all the wins. If you've been having wins in your life, I want you to go ahead and post them because like, hey, celebration creates more and it helps you manifest more. Oh my God, I hope I messed that a hairbrush at some point. My 2-year-old tends to steal anything makeup or hair related and hide it from me. And so here we are. Also, hey guys, hey Isla, hello Diamante, so good to see you guys. But anyway, you would have seen that on Friday, now I'm doing free coaching Friday in this group, inspired by my friend Amanda King. She does it for business coaching in her private group, Fierce as Fuck Tribe, I think that's what it's called. But I wanted to bring it to you guys so that I can not just coach on business, but also manifestation, mindset, relationships, really anything. Like if I've got a course on almost everything on my website, which means you can ask me nearly anything too. We just wrapped up module 5 of the Instagram course last night. So if there's any Instagram related questions, then go ahead and ask those too. But really, you can post them on the string that I post on Friday morning, usually, about Free Coaching Friday. Any questions you might have. So we have a couple that are already there, and feel free to ask them in the comments of the video too, and I'll answer them. And there we go. So how are you guys doing this week? I've had a bunch of wins. I actually woke up to $13,000 in my bank account this morning. I was so excited for that. Hello, Georgette. Welcome to Free Coaching Friday. And oh my God, that was so nice to wake up to. It was a big celebration. And I have a feeling that that is not the only celebration we'll have this weekend, because this is actually, you see my swimsuit. I'm already ready for the beach, guys. We are celebrating on Sunday 1 year in our house here in St. Petersburg, Florida at the beach. It's been such a fun year. I can't believe it's already been a year, but this is a house I totally manifested. So I can tell that story at some point, maybe on the podcast that I have, but in the meantime, like anything that you guys actually want is totally waiting for you to make that decision to accept it into your life. And one of the questions here has that kind of theme. So let me dive into the questions. Feel free to ask me anything that you want answered. Hey, Michelle, welcome to Free Coaching Friday. And I will answer it live on this live stream. So Jamie Baker asks, any tips for working on manifesting your dreams when your significant other has a very negative mindset about life in general? I can get more specific if you need to, and I may not be able to check in live with work. Hey, Michelle, it's so good to see you. How are things up in Michigan? Have you had to go to Ohio for anything, or have you been able to stay in Michigan? Okay, and then she did expand and said, my husband literally lives in a negative victim mindset with occasional short jaunts into the light of positivity now and then. I, on the other hand, have a generally positive mental status other than my self-effacing beliefs of inadequacy. So when we are working on building up our businesses or planning for our future farm, because that is going to happen, he takes a dismal view most of the time while I try to point out how it's just going to work out. I didn't expect this to be so hard to explain. I know, right? That's the gist of it. So I'm the light to his shadow. Our backgrounds are completely opposite. So while I fall into holes at times, I'm generally positive and he expects the worst. Okay, so let me go back. It said, we're working on building up our businesses or planning our future farm. Okay, so here's the thing. Hey, Mariah, welcome. Oh, good. Yay, Jamie, you're here. I'm so excited. There's Leslie. Leslie, do you miss us? Leslie, did you catch? It's almost been a year. It'll be a year on Sunday since we closed on this house that we're in here. Can you believe? I moved away from Leslie. She's my next door neighbor at our other house across the state. Anyway, let me get back to Jamie's question. Okay, so basically, Jamie lives with Debbie Downer with a penis, and she wants to know how can she manifest her dreams and her dream house and her dream farm if Debbie Downer lives with her, right? And I totally get it. So here's the thing. You are going to be responsible for your vibe and your manifestations and your thoughts and your beliefs and your all of that, right? So you have all the control in the world to create and decide to create what you want to create for your life. And I get that we have husbands that tend to be a black cloud at some points, but I've learned in my life, actually, I'd like to say that I've learned this, but I still fuck it up like daily. Where like if you're living with somebody who's like kind of negative about things at times, then it's hard to be like, why are you so fucking negative? You're driving me crazy. Like, can you not shit in my parade or whatever? Like, can I just say something without there being something like negative back? Like, is it possible? But then I started now looking at it like, well, why am I so focused on them and trying to change them or him or whatever, when all I can change is myself, right? Like all I can truly change is the decisions that I make for myself. And those decisions include like what you're focusing on, what you're thinking, what you're believing, and what you're dreaming of, right? Because let's face it, your dreams might not necessarily be his, right? But that doesn't mean they're any less valid. And as long as you're holding the vision for what you want in life, that's all that truly matters. Whatever is going to fall in line with that is going to fall in line with it. And whatever's meant to fall away will fall away. And a lot of times when you're dealing with somebody who isn't where you are in like a personal development stance, you can't expect them to meet you where you are, you know? So like if, you know, it's like being able to have a conversation about like a heart transplant with a cardiologist when like all I've learned about it is like whatever was on the doctors. You know what I mean? Like we're not going to be able to get in deep and have the same expectations. And you're not going to be able to go in and do heart surgery on somebody just based off one conversation. Just like he can't be expected to have a bright, shiny outlook if all he's grown up with is this negative mindset or negative reinforcements, or like, you said the backgrounds are opposite. So like all he's just going off what he knows. So his model of the world is what he knows. And like that up until now has worked for him, even if it's not truly working for him. You get what I'm saying? So whereas you have grown up with more possibilities. So you're basically like running a marathon and you're able to sprint because you had more practice at it, you know? And he's just still tying his shoes, or maybe he hasn't even learned how to tie his shoes yet with this. So you're going to be able to show him what's possible based off of what you create and manifest. So all of the positive thinking is going to, I've got two things. All the positive thinking is going to only help you. Like really, what is going to hurt that? Like nothing, right? Like you can't, you know, can't go wrong with that, right? But also, you're going to have to accept the fact that you can't rely on him for support in terms of like manifestation and mental support in manifesting your dreams. You're just going to have to be the one that's leading him and being the example of what's possible. And then it might be enough for him to finally be like, oh shit, she was right? Like when we tell them, hey, you know I'm right? Then they never believe you. They'll believe like a stranger on the street before they believe us. If your husband's anything like mine, he'll like, I tell him the same thing 5, 6, 7 times and give him the same advice. And he's like, why are you being so bossy? And then he'll listen to a podcast that says the same fucking thing. And he's like, it's as if it was the gospel. And he comes running home like a kid who just got to have ice cream at school. And he's like, guess what I learned today? And I'm like, ugh. So recently I went through this where my husband got laid off like about a month and a half ago. And he decided to go do this job that he's been dreaming of, cleaning the underside of boats in a scuba outfit. So yeah. So like, I swear to God, as soon as I heard this and I started to do the math on like what they were telling him that he would make, because it's not like an hourly thing, it's like per foot as you clean. And you know how fast men are at doing things compared to us type A women, right? So I'm like, oh, this is gonna go well. This is really gonna go well. But I can't sit here and tell him, you know, this is a bad idea, right? Because on the other hand, I'm like, okay, so what could be good from this? He gets to get out of the house. He feels like he has some purpose. It feels like he still has a job. He'll get to see for himself that this is the worst motherfucking idea ever, and that it's a lot of fucking work that's meant for like a 18-year-old that just wants to buy Natty Light, right? Like not a 38-year-old that might have a desire to have nice whiskey and go shop online, right? Like, I'm sorry, but $25, $30 a day isn't going to cut it, right? But I can't tell him this. He has to go figure out. So I'm like, okay, experiment with this. Instead of me telling him what's going to happen, I just sat back and I'm like, so here's what I think you should do. Go full out. Go full out for 2 weeks. Like, just work as if you're working like as long as possible. Because the math that I'm getting, I don't know. I'm not there. I'm probably not the right one. Like, it's you. And if this is what you really, really want to do and you feel like you can, then go for it. Sure. And then he would come back and he's like, I'm tired. I'm like, oh, but you're going to go back to work tomorrow, right? Like, it sounds like fun. Meanwhile, I'm at home with the kids all day. Like, I'm getting like fuck all done, but like, whatever, you know, like I've gotten to the point that now, you know, I'm making some adjustments in my business and I'm just going to do what feels good. And so it actually works out better. So the end of the story, I'll fast forward to the end of the movie here. He comes home and he's like, yeah, I really don't think this is like such the best idea. I'm like, oh, are you? Like, why? Are you tired? He's like, yeah, I'm pretty tired. Like, you're not able to get much done. Like, I haven't applied for other jobs. And I'm like, yeah. And you're basically like, like, what? Like, once we saw after how much work he was putting in, how many hours he was gone from the house, like, it just didn't make sense. But I let him come to that conclusion. So leading him to that, right? So I tell you this because badgering your husband about if he doesn't follow your dreams isn't going to help you at all, and it's going to lower your vibe, and you're going to get into fights and arguments, and you're going to be like, why is he so fucking stupid, you know, which isn't going to help your vibe, right? So I suggest staying in groups like this, right? Focusing on, you hear Stella in the background, I'm like, okay, focusing on finding 5 people, or, you know, like you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. You ever heard that Jim Rohn quote? That's like what I picked up from 3 Days at Tony Robbins, was basically like that quote. And the fact I could firewalk, and that was pretty fucking cool. But here's the thing. You're going to be the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So find these groups that you can spend time in. And when you're dreaming and thinking about like what's possible, and you want to bounce ideas off of people, or like just talk about it or whatever, then do it in these groups. You know, like, you've got to know the people that you can go talk to about it and the ones that you can't. And right now, temporarily, like, this doesn't always have to be permanent, but it seems like temporarily your husband might be in that bucket of people who might not be the first people to go to tell about all of the dreams, because he sounds like he shits on them. So you want to go to people who are going to be supportive and are going to help you along the way and give you that mindset to elevate you, and also not just like be there to tell you that you're doing a great job, but maybe elevate you so that you can aspire to be like them and learn from them, right? So like that quote, if you're the smartest person in the room, get the fuck out of that room. Like, that's how I look at it like this. The 5 people you're the average of. You're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So if I'm spending my time around like mostly millionaires, then they're going to be talking about things and learning about things and discussing ideas that like blow my mind, right? If I'm talking to like people who make $5 an hour, then they're going to be like probably not having the same conversations and doing the same things and having the same habits that are going to help me get to that $1 million level. Does that make sense? So yeah, you said I have no in-person. Yeah, I can do that. I have no in-person friends, so I stick to you and Victoria and Ashley and other. Yeah, exactly. Well, like I even remember when I first started listening to podcasts, hearing Catherine Zinakina talk about this, about how like, she would like just basically listen to podcasts and do trainings and go to Tony Robbins, and like these people, the 5 people you spend the most time with, don't have to be in person with you. Like, think about it. Say you were like a single woman who like lived in a country where she didn't even speak the same language, right? Like and she wanted to start a business, she'd have to find people to learn from, right? So there's so much you can use now, like podcasts, courses, free content, like groups like this, all sorts of thing online. It's almost like overwhelming as to like how much there actually is. So does that help? Does that make you feel better about it? I mean, if you want to go from a subconscious brain perspective with these sorts of topics, like your mind takes in 2.3 million bits of information per second, and it can only filter 126 of those per second. So it can't possibly take in everything that's coming at it. So you act off of habit, and habit can be responses and conversations and reactions, but it can also be like the things you pay attention to, right? So like your husband's just used to paying attention to the more negative side, right? And so, but you can start feeding your subconscious with new information outside of that that's going to help you reach your goals. And I think that's going to be important. So I hope that helps. All right. And then Pam says, I'll have to catch the replay, but tips for when you have been writing out what you desire to happen for days and it keeps appearing. Oh, and it appears as if nothing's happening. Question is, do you continue to write it out until it shows up? However long it takes, that is. Yeah, Pam says, I've been following what you said, but just wondering if I'm still missing something, or maybe I'm doing it right and it's taking a while. Okay. Thank you, Michelle. Yay. I'm happy to help. Yay. And now the scuba equipment is getting sold. Update. I'll continue to give updates in here. But like, I mean, I hate it when people are like, I told you so. Like, oh my God, like, please, but like, if you figure it out on your own, then that's helpful. And I think for guys, that's a good big thing. Leading them to think that they've figured it out on their own. 41.5 years, and it's taken me to come to this light bulb moment, right? So, okay. An area yoga path. What is your real name, unless it's Ariel, that'd be cool. Are the online coaching sessions representing how a coaching session would be conducted? Yeah, absolutely. I can answer that. You just asked me what your specific question, if that is your question. Okay, but answer Pam's. So what Pam's referencing to is she was in my Manifestation Queen Academy. And one of the exercises that I request and require that you do every day is develop this new identity. Like oh, hey, Christine, yay. All of your change is going to happen the fastest when you change yourself at the identity level, right? Like you are changing all of you can change your house, you can change your people that you're around, you can change the food you eat, but like if at your core you're still like, let's just say you're trying to be vegan, like you can hang out around vegans, you can eat vegan food, but if at your core you're still like, yeah, I'm a meat eater, I'm just like, this is like a thing for me right now, this vegan thing, then you're not truly going to stay on the vegan path, right? So you changing at the identity level and changing what your identity is, especially when manifesting new things into your life, is like the biggest thing that you need to do, because that's where that decision comes in and that energetic shift to actually make you become that person that you desire to be, because that person you desire to be is the one that has all the things that you want and feels and acts and behaves and thinks at a certain level to have the things that it is that you actually want. So for example, say I'm experiencing say I'm like a single person and I really want a boyfriend and I really want to get married, but yet I'm just still talking about how single I am, and I'm just always like a single person that can't find a boyfriend and is, a spinster and struggling and always by herself, that person has an identity of a single person, right? So in order to manifest a new man into your life or a new relationship, you become that person who already has that relationship, right? In your mind, you're like, I am not single, I am just waiting for the right one. Or actually not waiting, because that brings in waiting and lack, but like I am like magnetizing the right man to me. Like I'm always aware of who the right relationships are for me. You change at that identity level to not identify yourself as like a single person who is basically by yourself all the time, right? You start to say how you have fulfilling relationships all around you, how all of the minutes of your day are filled with so much love, like you just feel so amazing, right? So it's a totally different vibe, and it's an energetic shift into a different version, like a different being, like a different way of being, right? So I have the ladies or men who join my Manifestation Queen Academy write out like 20 new I am statements, new identity statements to shift your identity. Anything that you write or say after I am becomes like, it's like a magic wand, pretty much. That's what becomes the reality. And also I have them dream journal, which is also referred to as future pacing or scripting, where you pick a time in the future and you write out what you're doing in that moment as if whatever you wanted to manifest has just manifested, and you are literally writing into existence like your ideal reality, okay? Which is completely different from your current reality. So as you're doing this, you're literally, from a science perspective, you're training your subconscious brain to focus on new things, right? So like your reticular activating system stops focusing on the fact that you're living in an apartment you don't own, or making a certain amount of money in a job that, you're not that happy with, and, trying to get a business off the ground, but it's not really working. You start writing into existence that reality of you with the successful relationship, with the successful business that brings in money in your sleep, and also the brand new house that you've just bought, right? So if that's your dream, and you start to create a picture in your mind of yourself in that moment, right? And you have to create these pictures in the moment for your subconscious brain to be able to grab onto and fulfill for you. And also, like, you're co-creating with the universe, so that sends a clear signal. When you're able to like ascend to that new version of you, you're sending out that energetic signal to the universe to be able to bring your desires to you. And a lot of that has to do with faith. So like if you're sitting there wondering if you're missing something, or maybe you're doing it wrong, or you're noticing that it's not there yet, and then you're thinking of quitting, which I've been there. I still get there sometimes, and I have to like whip myself back into shape and be like, whoa, doubting isn't going to get you what you want. Quitting is definitely not going to get you what you want. And is it really going to be easier to not have what you want? I mean, ask my husband that question. The answer is usually no. It's not ever easier when I don't get what I want. I mean, come on, all honesty here. So what I recommend is you've got to make that decision. You've got to decide today what it is that you want. You've got to and when I say decide, I don't mean like, oh, well, I think I want to be a millionaire, or I think I want to have like a 6-figure job or multi-6-figure business. Like you decide and you put it in writing, and you hold that faith, and you know that not only are you deciding to have that like goal set for the future, but you are putting into action that decision to have every single moment you check yourself and you check your vibe. So if your vibe gets off about like, is this, like, say your goal is to have a better relationship with your husband, and you're like, well, you know, I'm really trying to get along with him, but he's like, he doesn't really seem to be interested in me. Then, like, at every moment of the day, you're like, no, I decide that this is going to be like the way. This is going to be a relationship filled with love, and everything that I do is going to be like filled with love and forgiving whatever has come up. I forgive myself for whatever's come up. I forgive him for whatever's come up until now, and we're no longer living in the past. I'm just living for like the moment to moment and how I feel from moment to moment, so that, you know, he gets what he needs out of this relationship, and I get what I need out of this relationship, so that then we, you know, manifest a better future together. Does that make sense? So like having that vision that even if he's not, you know, truly giving you what you want, you still have that vision and that faith that the right thing is going to happen, and the right steps will be shown to you, and the right things will come up. Even if it's an argument, it might be an argument that leads to a major breakthrough, you know? So not having attachment about how it's going to show up, but continuing to do the work however long it takes. Like, what's the worst that can happen? If you give it like, I'm, you know, from this point for the next 6 months, I am deciding that I'm living every single moment of my day from like a point of attraction. Like, I am only going to think thoughts that it will attract what I want to happen. I'm going to take action on things that will bring what I want to happen, and I'm going to like consistently only hold beliefs that will get me to that point where I believe that like my success is truly inevitable, right? That my success in this is inevitable, and I'm not attached to how it's going to happen, but it is going to happen in some way, shape, or form, and it's mine to have, and it's also mine to lose. And the way you lose it is by giving up and doubting yourself and being like, I don't know, it's been a month, it doesn't seem like it's manifesting, so is this really gonna happen for me, or is it just a bunch of bullshit? And the truth is, like, you have all those other successful little moments where it was totally true and it did manifest, right? And so use those as your fuel. And if you need to write down a list of every single time that you've set out to manifest something and it's actually worked for you, then that's really what, you know, you want to focus on, right? Like, focus on the evidence. Don't focus on what's missing. One of the things I've actually had people do in the past is an evidence board, which, don't Google that, because it's actually like crime scene investigators use them too, and I wouldn't recommend Googling it. But like, what you could say like a affirmation board. Let's just call it that instead. But basically, it's like a list or in pictures, or like pictures of you in situations of things where like you actually manifested them. So like anytime you're feeling doubt about whether law of attraction works, law of the universe's work, laws of the universe work, or you know what I mean, like any of this stuff, any of these practices and manifestation, if you ever have any sort of doubt as to whether it's happening, you've got like in pictures yourself in the pictures as proof that it does work and it is possible, right? Because like, let's face it, we're human. We have doubts. We have hormones. I mean, Jesus Christ, those things are like, in itself, right? Sometimes. So, you know, having that evidence to always go back to be like, oh yeah, like I am solid and secure in my faith that this is all unfolding exactly the way it's supposed to. Like, this is all working out. Like, you get to the point that like your husband gets laid off and you're like, oh, I wonder what's going to happen now, right? I really want, like, I was actually like, wow, I wonder what this means, you know, like, this is cool. So, yeah. So is that, Pam's not on here to answer, but keep going, keep writing it out, keep writing it out and writing it out. That daily dream journaling, that in getting out of your head, like getting out of your head and really like being solid in your following your intuition, even, you know, like that's going to be so important too. Okay. Yay, hubby actually called while you were talking about him. Ooh, I was on the same wavelength as him. Yeah, he hurt, his ears must have been burning. So, Christine, you said, how does a coaching session, how would that be conducted? I'm not really sure what you mean by that, because it could be, there's a lot of different coaching sessions. Like I do one-on-one coaching. I do like deep dive strategy calls where, you know, we focus on like one area. I'm going to be doing like, actually like 6-week packages where we focus on one area, and then longer one-on-one work. And they're all different. It all just kind of depends on what your goal is with the coaching session. Just let me know what you mean by that. Love this so far. Hey, Diamante, I love it. Love this so far. Do you have any success / manifestation rituals that you do daily? Yes, I do. And I can always freaking tell when I haven't done them. So first of all, the one thing that I am always resisting for whatever reason, maybe because we all like to make our lives difficult. Don't worry, it's not a beer. That would be great though. Not that I wouldn't drink a beer. You know what? I don't even drink beer anymore. I used to love it. Like our daughter's name is Stella. She was actually named after the beer, to be honest with you. But I stopped drinking beer at the beginning of COVID, and then I tried it again, and I was like, ah! So I count that as a win, but I've kind of replaced it with rosé, sparkling rosé, and that's really good too. Upgrade. And it's too late to change my daughter's name to Sparkling Rosé Mackenzie because she's kind of attached to the name Stella. So, okay, I digress. So yeah, meditation. Meditation is the one that I really need to be making myself do every single morning, first thing. Sometimes my kids get into the way, but I have to make sure when there's no mosquitoes outside that I go and do it myself too. Oh, thank you, Michelle. But like, that's a big one. That's a big one. And there's active meditation. Actually, I was talking to my friend Lindsay about this yesterday because she was the one that was like, my spirit guides are telling me that you need to meditate more. And I'm like, you know what? You're like the third person who's told me this in the last week because I've been really in my head. I don't know about you, but like, I tend to overthink things. I tend to, you know, waffle back and forth if I don't like really hold myself to that same standard that I tell you to hold yourselves to, right? So we're all, nobody's perfect. I'm the least one that's perfect, believe me. But I would say having that daily meditation practice really opens up that channel to get the downloads. It also clears your mind from that chatter. So especially if you start out during the day with listening, or you can listen to a guided meditation. That would be like an active meditation where, you know, it's a guided meditation that's telling you to do certain things or to, you know, giving you certain prompts throughout the way. Or you can do just the music, like on Insight Timer, there's a lot of different just music meditations with music in the background, or just nothing at all and focusing on like your breath or the sound of the fan, or I don't know, whatever other sounds are there. But that's a real big one. The other one is those identity, like really powerful I am statements. So this would look like, you know, imagining your current situation, and we actually are going to do this around money in a new program that I have coming out. And I'm going to do like a master class. If you guys are interested, I'm going to do like a $99 master class where we reprogram your like thoughts around money. And this is going to be really, really good. So the initial price is only going to be $99, and then it's going to go up over time. And we're basically going to create a new identity for you around money using NLP principles, subconscious mind reprogramming, manifestation, and really set you up for success over the rest of the year. So message me if you want more information about this, because I'm excited. But when you reprogram your identity and you have an idea of where you want your life to go and you want your, like what you want it to look like, right? So if I will read out like a few. Where did it? Like, where the hell? I swear. I can read some out for you. Just as an example of what. This is like around money, okay? People are willing and ready to pay me. Money is literally so easy to create. Money flows to me no matter what I do and what I say. Money comes to me just for being me. I trust myself completely, and I trust money completely. I trust the universe provides when I decide it provides, and I make money every single time I decide to make money. Like, these are new identity levels that somebody who's just starting out might not have, right? And this starts to reshape the way that you are thinking and acting and feeling around a certain topic. So if you're asking for success and manifestation rituals, depending on what area of that, if it's about your business, then those would be really, really great ones to do. And I would pick 10 to 20 of them that you focus on writing out every single day. So you're literally writing out that new identity, and you're like solidifying it into your subconscious so that it starts becoming your new identity and drawing everything that you want to you. This is going to be so important. The other thing that I love doing is the dream journaling, where literally you pick a time in the future, whether it's 3 months, 6 months, a year, and you start writing out what your life looks like on that day, where you're like, oh my God, I just woke up in my house in the Mediterranean, and I'm about to go have breakfast with my husband and my kids, and then we're gonna go down to the beach. I just had a bunch of payments come in overnight, and I can't wait to do my live stream with all my customers or all my clients later today. Like, all of this just happened. You start to literally script out every area of your life that you have goals and dreams and desires, and like write it like a magic wand into existence. This isn't just like a manifestation ritual. This actually has a lot of foundation in retraining your subconscious brain about what to think and believe about what is actually the reality. Your subconscious doesn't know the difference between what's happened and what hasn't happened. And when you are able to give it a new picture to focus on, it doesn't even know if that's real or not, but it takes it as real and it starts to work with it as the new reality. So this is so important to understand, especially as it's applied to manifestation, because if you keep saying things to your brain about, oh, this hasn't happened yet, oh, I'm still waiting for my desires to come through, you're just noticing it's not there yet, then that's what's going to be served up to you on a silver platter. But if you start saying, no, this is what's happened instead. Like, now we're living in our dream house. I just bought a house in Hawaii as like our second house. We rent it out half the year, and then we go and live in it for the other half of the year. Like, there's all these dreams. Go watch these shows on HGTV, like Mexico Life or Mediterranean Life, or if you have a desire to live somewhere else besides where you live currently and you can't travel at the moment, and you're like, it's hard to imagine not being stuck in my house or whatever, go watch some of those shows, because it'll really, really get your inspiration going, and you'll be like, oh my God, I'm so dreaming. So I'm keeping my dreams so small, and they could be so much bigger. And this helps you start to like open your mind to possibilities beyond what your current reality is. So those are my go-to that I really, really love doing, and I think are so impactful. And because honestly, there's a lot of other things with like crystals and masculine and feminine energy and all that, but I'm not like an expert in all that stuff. I feel like really a lot of it's rooted in your brain and your subconscious, and regardless of if you've balanced your masculine and feminine energy and you're sitting back in the flow, like if you've got programs running in your mind, it's like a computer. You have to give it like a new disk, new set of like dreams and goals and beliefs to focus on and to like run out as the new program of your life, in order to get new results. Yay! I love that. Hubby called. I hope He's probably my biggest fan, huh? It's so funny. I love it. So do you guys have any other questions? This has been a good one. I love this. I should record this and put it on the podcast because this was some really, really good information. I'll tell you what. I think I might. 2 thumbs up for that one. Yay. Thank you guys. I'm so glad you were able to make it. Yay, thank you. Was that helpful? If you guys have any other questions or you want me to talk more about these sorts of topics, just let me know. You can always leave. I forgot to add like a bunch of wins. So in the group, what I want you guys to do is keep adding any sort of wins that you have that we can all celebrate as a group. I've been bad. I forgot to put one on. So on Sunday, I think it was Sunday. It doesn't really matter anymore. Sunday it was. We were at my parents' house. And there's some work that we've wanted to do in the house, and my uncle's there. We had a contractor quote us like $5,500 for it, and he's a contractor, but he just like retired last month basically, and he's sitting around kind of bored. But he was like, hey, I'll come over and do that work for you. I'll do it for free. Like you can go get basically for materials. And I was like, oh my God, you're kidding me. Like, this is awesome. Like, do you understand? That's like probably $4,000 manifested right there. That's a huge win. And I don't know, I just love celebrating, and I think it's so important to celebrate. And that's what, the other thing I'll say about Pam's question. Celebrate so much what's happened already for you. Like maybe you're noticing the things that haven't come around yet, but there's got to be some other stuff, maybe realizations you've come to, like new beliefs that have become easier. Have you crossed out some of the things on your list? Because if you've crossed out some of the things because it's like automatically become coded in there, then to me, that's a win. Every time you're able to crush like an old belief that's kept you stuck where you are, like you're making progress towards that goal of where you want to be. And you've got to give yourself credit for that, like every single step of the way, because I mean, otherwise, how would you be expected to manifest any other great things into your life if you're not even noticing some of the smaller things, So like I said, I'm guilty of these things too at times. Actually, I shouldn't say that because I'm telling my brain I'm guilty. So some of these things we all work on from time to time. You're not alone at all. All right. Thank you all so much. I'm so excited that you guys are here. Thank you for joining me. Have a beautiful weekend. Have a very happy Father's Day. We'll be celebrating our house warming. We've warmed the house up. It's almost been 365 years. Oh, that would be interesting, wouldn't it? Alrighty. Mwah! Have a great day. I'll see you guys soon. Bye. Thanks a million for choosing to push play on another episode of the Manifestation Queen podcast. You truly amaze me, and if this episode blew your mind, then please leave a 5-star rating and a quick review on iTunes so more people like you can become manifestation queens too. See you next time.